You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. If y'all want to talk about what's madness, is what's happening with one of the most venerable media institutions that we've ever seen, Ebony magazine. So I get a text today. So I told y'all yesterday that the group that says they own Ebony hires Willie Gary, the attorney, to send a letter to the company that now controls the debt, saying, look, you guys made these statements. We're in control of the company. You should not have made these statements. It was, I mean, all sorts of different things, also different things that, again, you're sort of like, okay, what's really going on here? What's interesting about this whole deal is that, and I have a copy of the actual letter. Here's what they say in this letter right here, okay? In this letter that was sent from Willie Gary, representing Robert Shoemake, as well as Willa Jackson, who say they own Ebony magazine. It says, it has been approximately 3 years since Parkview have controlled the company's financial affairs, and Ebony has continued to plunge into financial crisis and is now in arrears on its debts with Parkview in approximately $1.5 million, as well as other obligations, including vendors and advertisers owing approximately $2 million in advertiser credit and $2 million in payroll taxes. Also, when you decided to make yourself the chairman of Ebony to take over the company's financial affairs so it would perform on its debt obligations, Blueprint's relationship with Ebony was no longer kept at arm's length and created a conflict of interest. Now, Blueprint is the black-owned asset company that took over Parkview's debts, okay? So I got to explain to you what's going on here. The guys who bought Ebony, excuse me, were loaned the money from Blueprint. Now watch this. The Ebony folks have responded to Willie Gary's letter. This is their response. We, the board of Ebony Media Holdings, are in receipt of your correspondence dated July 14th. While we recognize that your firm has limited background and access to authentic documentation, we feel it is entirely irresponsible to make allegations of illegal and unethical conduct without reviewing the basic operating documents of the company. We would like to bring this matter to an expeditious close and save you and your client valuable time and financial resources and the negative attention that will be brought to a set of conspired actions that remain the subject of an ongoing investigation. So then they detail in here all of the rules, exactly what should happen, things along those lines. Then they say in here, we further draw your attention to a cease and desist letter dated March 20th, 2020 that was delivered to Mr. Shoemake and signed by Mr. Jackson. Again, we draw your attention to a second cease and desist letter dated June 26, 2020. And it says the continued unauthorized conduct of Shoemake is likely to cause confusion, mistake, or deception as to Shoemake's affiliation, connection, and or associate with Ebony. It may appear that Ebony authorized Shoemake to conduct such Ebony activities or that Ebony endorses the fraudulent conduct. Please note that the misuse of the Ebony trademark, including the solicitation and collection of charitable donations on behalf of Ebony without consent, constitutes trademark infringement. Now, here's what's interesting. In the letter from Willie Gary to Jacob Waltauer with Blueprint, they assert that Robert Shoemake owns 49% of the company. They responded by saying, well, wait a minute, what about all these cease and desist letters? They go through all of this information in here. They lay all of these things out in terms of various transactions, things that they've done, and they just lay this entire response out. This actually happened today. So that group, Willa Jackson, Robert Shoemake, posted this on the Ebony website. Ebony ownership immediately removes Jacob Waltauer as chairman with cause, citing the letter saying that Ebony ownership grew concerned when Waltauer began to book media appearances and shared confidential information with outlets like the Wall Street Journal. Well, I talked to the folks at Blueprint, and they said this comes down. This is absolutely nuts. So here's what you have going on right here, folks. You have the group, Willard Jackson, Michael Gibson, CVG, who acquired the assets of Ebony. They used money that was given to them from Parkview. Parkview now had their debt taken over by Blueprint. Blueprint does an investigation, and they're saying, this is crazy. They oust Willard Jackson as chairman CEO. Now you have Willard Jackson and Robert Shoemake saying, no, Robert Shoemake owns 49%. That was sold to him. Blueprint is saying that deal didn't even exist. It's not even real because it wasn't even properly approved. Massive drama. Here's where we stand, what we don't have, what we have right now, Greg Carr. There's no Ebony magazine. They haven't printed an edition in months. You've got a website that's pretty much defunct, social media that's defunct. So here you have this historic brand, all of the things that it's done over the decades. Right now, that's wrapped up into a huge, absolute mess.
Well, brother, as someone who has written for Ebony magazine, and when I was offered payment, I declined because I said it was more important for me personally to be able to say and to tell my mother and to tell my community that I wrote about the National Museum of African American History. I wrote about the Black Panther Party. I wrote in the print edition, and my name will appear in the same magazine that Lerone Bennett Jr. wrote in. It's more important for me, but I also understand that there are other people who needed that little bit of money who never got paid. And I guess what I'm saying is, listening to you walk us through that, the thing that gives me hope is that when the smoke clears, the thing that still exists is that decades of archive and momentum that form the core of why Ebony and Johnson Publications have meant so much to us. The work of Lerone Bennett, the Black women's issue, the Black vote issues, the annual discussions of what is most important in Black America, and Jet and Ebony and Negro Digest and Black World. And this will be sorted out. We know courts of law there is. As long as the assets of Ebony are not dispersed, and I mean the intellectual capital, then like a phoenix, it can rise. And I mean, it's discouraging, but I have some faith that Ebony will rise again.
Well, the intellectual capital, Reese, that's there, it's really the paper edition of the magazine. So what CVG did not acquire, the photographs, that of course was sold to a group of foundations that will be provided to the Smithsonian, the African American History Museum. They do have those paper editions and all of that. The problem here is this here. Here you are operating right now in this mode, almost 9 weeks after George Floyd's death. Black Lives Matter, this renewed interest, this heightened interest. And here you have one of our most historic media outlets that is in a coma. It was already in trouble. It was already in ICU. It's now in a coma. And I got experience with this in that when I had run Chicago Defender. And look, trying to save that whole deal and all the drama there, and it was a mess. We did revive it. They went back to the whole deal, and they no longer print a publication. You barely have anything on their website. So yeah, technically it's still there, but it's not there. This is what I'm talking about when we have to be able to take care of these institutions and not allow them to wither on the vine, which means you got to have folks running them who know what the hell they're doing.
Right, Roland. And what's disappointing from the way that you laid it out is that we're talking about a Black investment firm that took it over. And sometimes, unfortunately, it sounds like, not all Black investment firms have the intention of preserving our cultural institutions, or perhaps the intention is to preserve it, but the impact is that it actually worsens the condition because they don't have the experience in actually cultivating it and getting it out of the issues that it faces right now. I applaud you, Dr. Carr, for having that reverence for this institution. And as you point out, Roland, it is a great loss right now. And the fact of the matter is Black print media is really withering to a degree in a time where we really need it most. And yes, a lot of things are moving to digital, but we still need that historic trove of data and of institutional knowledge to provide that perspective that even I will admit, somebody like me, I don't have that treasure trove of information like what Dr. Carr has. And so I hope that they come to an agreement that actually preserves this institution and that the right people are put in charge of Ebony that can actually revive it.
Erica?
Yeah, I agree. And definitely for Dr. Carr to have penned in a publication that I grew up on, Ebony and Jet, it was not uncommon for me to be sitting and getting my hair hot combed by my mom, which was always a fight. But to be thumbing through the pages of one of those Black publications. And what always spoke to me was be able to see people who spoke and wrote with such power and to see visuals that reflected who I was when we're talking about living in an environment that does not celebrate, but definitely appropriates Black culture on a regular. And so I really, really hope that, even though we're moving to more and more of a digital environment, I am one who likes to hold my magazines. I like to read my books, and I like to have it in hand, that there will be a reestablishment, because you pointed this out, Roland, just bringing BET into this conversation very quickly, that on the heels of George Floyd being lynched and all of these different very pertinent Black issues that are larger societal issues, that we did not have a BET that did actually capture the video. It was Roland Martin Unfiltered that captured video and kept us engrossed in these types of conversations. So when we look around us to see images and hear voices that echo us, it is important to have an Ebony and all of these different publications that have been important in our community for decades still alive.
So let me also give our folks this here. You might recall the crowdfunding campaign by 420 Real Estate, which was the cannabis crowdfunding campaign. A number of you may have donated to that. Well, that was actually a crowdfunding campaign that was owned by Willard Jackson. Robert Shoemaker was involved with it. They came to us to advertise on our platform for that. A number of you have sent emails saying you have not gotten information with regards to that. I reached out directly to Robert Shoemaker and Willard Jackson about this, saying you owe my viewers answers as to what is going on with their investment. Robert Shoemaker responded with this phone number, which is 678-701-8317. He said to me that they have a call center set up to take these various questions. Now, you can call that particular number right there. So one, I want folks to be able to do that, but I also want you. I got this letter here. I got a letter that from one of the folks who watched the show, and he said he had no problem at all using his name. His name is J. Mandel Carter. And he filed an SEC complaint with regards to 420 Real Estate, their crowdfunding campaign. He's now sent a letter to 420 Real Estate, to Willard Jackson, Robert Shoemaker, demanding a request for refund, citing lost profits. And so, again, if you have any questions regarding that crowdfunding campaign, remember, they were an advertiser. They are responsible for those issues. That also is a part of this. In that response from Jacob Walthour to Willie Gary, to Willard Jackson and Robert Shoemaker, he talked about 420 Real Estate and payments being made. So again, if you invested in that crowdfund campaigning of 420 Real Estate, you should call this number 678-701-8317, 678-701-8317. Robert Shoemaker said that they have a call center set up to discuss these things. They should be able to answer your questions. And if you don't get any questions answered, certainly send us an email and we'll keep asking those questions. And just so y'all know, they had not made payment on our advertising deal, and I stopped doing those crowdfund live reads and began to ask them a series of questions, demanding answers, saying you owe my followers who gave money answers as to what's going on with those funds. And so I have been asking those questions for several months. I've made it perfectly clear to Robert Shoemaker and to Willard Jackson. I will continue to ask those questions and to get those answers. I said, because y'all are Black. This was a partnership with Ebony. And I said, and guess what? If you taking funds from Black people, I expect answers to black people, because we don't play those games at all. And so I made that clear to Robert Shoemake and Willa Jackson. That's also a part of this whole Ebony thing as well. And so I have been in communication with Jacob Walthour. I have been in communication with Willa Jackson. I've been in communication with Robert Shoemake and all the folks involved. I established a very long email chain beginning May 1st, asking a series of questions, and I fully expect those to be answered and for y'all to be properly taken care of. So don't think for a second we're not paying any attention to these issues. And so the more answers we get, we'll deliver those answers to you. Willa Jackson had asked yesterday to come onto the show today, and then his lawyers advised not, but he did say he will come on the show next week. And so I look forward to asking Willa all of these questions about all of this drama surrounding Ebony and the 420 crowdfunding, 420 real estate crowdfunding as well. And so we'll see if that happens. All right, folks, Ceek.com. These headphones here, these 360-degree 4D headphones. Mary Spio, she is the founder and the creator, the inventor of this. You can get these, folks, the 360-degree 4D headphones, good for listening to music, videos, gaming, you name it. All you got to do is go to Ceek.com. There's a promo code you can use, RMVIP2020, RMVIP2020 for you to get this. Also the VR headset, so you can check out the products there on Ceek.com. And so check it out. And so we certainly appreciate them partnering with us at Roland Martin Unfiltered.